is, man.
All right, let me pin this.
Go on, pin it, babe.
Oh boy,
that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, welcome, everybody. We're twinflamesunite. We're at it again. You already know who it is. I'm Chris.
And I'm Leisha. What up?
All right. So today is going to be part 2 of our series that we're doing called You Are Magickal as...
That's right. AF.
Yes. So let's go ahead and get right into it.
You could go, if somebody joined, they joined, but we jumping right in.
All right. So let me get this pulled up here. Come on, screen share. There we go. We'll just do screen 2. Yep. Boom.
That's it.
All right.
Perfect.
So today we're going to get into it. And sweetheart, if you wouldn't mind going over the first part. I'm skipping ahead.
Jumping ahead.
All right. The first part is that you change your subconscious, you change your world. Okay. It's a very simple statement to make, but with the information that we're going to go over with this evening, hopefully it will give you an indication of how true this statement really is.
Right. And it's just a few words.
Yeah.
But to some, it might be challenging, even though it's just how many words up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, right? But when you think of a world, it's much more. Right? But we're going to get into it.
All right. And so if you wouldn't mind going over the overview for us.
Yes, sir. So today we are going to recap last week very briefly. Then we're going to get into the subconscious mind. What is, why do you experience what you experience? How come my world is showing up like this? We're going to go into the subconscious mind and the quantum field. Now, this one, I think you guys are going to like this one. It's very interesting. And this is where you get to see science and spirituality kind of merge. Right. The next one is, what is the language of the subconscious mind? Knowing how to speak to your subconscious mind or communicate with your subconscious mind to get things done and to will your desires into this current matter world form, and how to release the old and embrace the new. So techniques on how you can actually bring your manifestation in. But first, you got to get rid of the things that you don't necessarily want anymore. Right.
And just a quick reminder that once we get to the end of this webinar, for those who are in attendance, you will get the link, the Dropbox link that has a list of quite a few books that we're going to be going over during this whole 7-week period. And some of these books are very hard to find. And some of these books are extremely expensive, depending on what you consider expensive. But we were able to get our hands on it. And because we want to provide you with as many tools as possible so that you can really transform your world, once we get to the end of this webinar, we're going to drop the link into the chat so that you all can get access to those books and really start diving into it.
Right. And it's complimentary, so you don't have to pay for the books.
Yep. We're all about over delivering, right? Okay. So real quick, let's go ahead and recap what we talked about last week, right? And last week we were talking about pretty much defining what magic really is. All right. And would you mind reading that definition there?
Absolutely. So magic, guys. Magic is the science of using and understanding the power of the subconscious mind to achieve a desired result, which means a physical result. So if you're lighting candles, if you're throwing stuff in a crock pot and you're saying stuff, but you're not getting a physical result, that is not considered magic, right? And last week, if you see in the webinar, we went into the difference between the magic with the C and the magic with the K.
Right.
We are talking about the magic with the K, which is where science and spirituality merges to bring us a physical result.
Yes. And so based off of this statement that we're looking at right now, we're going to be focusing today on the subconscious, because we need to have an understanding of the power of the subconscious mind.
Right.
All right. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. All right. So to start things off, we have a short little video that we're going to share with you. And actually, I don't think the audio is shared with this. So let me reshare it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it do that?
Got to do it again.
Okay, here we go.
Second time the charm.
Optimize for video clip. Boom.
Beautiful.
All right. So let's check this out.
Today, I want to talk about the power of the subconscious mind. And basically, with the subconscious mind, if you believe something, the subconscious will find a way to make it happen. And people may well say, well, that's a little bit difficult to believe. There's tons of things that I believe that never happen. And that may well be true. There are things that exist in the world that many people don't believe. And things happen, people don't see it. But what is true is that if you believe something, your subconscious mind will find a way to make that true for you. So people who feel like they're a victim in life will make up a huge list of reasons why they've been wronged in this world. They will give evidence of all the situations where this has happened to them, and when presented with ideas that are contrary to what they believe, it doesn't register for them. They ignore it, even if someone points it out to them. When you are young, you don't know if you're good looking or bad looking. But through your experience, if someone tells you that you're not attractive, or you hear that repeatedly and you start to believe that, then what you see in the mirror is a reflection of the feelings that you feel when you hear that you're unattractive. And so your subconscious starts to build up an idea about how unattractive you are, even though in the beginning it had no preference one way or the other. When you saw yourself in the mirror, you didn't judge yourself. It was only through experiences, feedback that you got from others, that you started to decide one way or the other who you are in the world. If you are taught from a young age that God exists, then there is no amount of talking from someone else later in life that is going to persuade you to change your feelings. There is enough evidence on both sides to disprove and prove the existence of God. Yet people will rationalize it based on their experiences, their values, and what they've been taught to believe. And that truth becomes very real in their subconscious mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So boom. Now there were some key words that were said in that video that we're going to be going over along in this presentation. One of them is the repetitiveness that happens. Just keep that word in mind. The repetition comes into play when we're talking about the subconscious. Okay. Boom. So as you can see, our subconscious is pretty much like, for lack of better words, a slave to the individual, right? Because whatever instructions you put in there is going to pretty much bring that into reality.
Right. Whether it's conscious or unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're aware of it or not.
Yep. Whether it's good or bad, however you perceive it, because everything is subjective. Okay. Now, and to drive that point home even more in regards to why do we experience what we experience, it goes back to the subconscious. If you believe something, the subconscious will find a way to make it happen.
Even if it takes months, even if it takes years,
Right.
even if it takes a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
it'll find a way.
Yep. And so just like this gentleman here on the right, you know, his shadow aspect of him sees himself strong. We can just see this as the subconscious. That's the instructions that he has into his subconscious, that he's going to be strong. And so his subconscious is going to find a way to make him strong. And so that goes with everything. And it's in a way, it may seem a little bit scary as far as how strong this mind is, because when you really get an understanding and understanding of how the subconscious works, an epiphany kind of hits you. At least it hit us.
It hit us real hard, and it really helped to explain a lot of the experiences thus far. Just a small example before we jump into this next slide. In my prior relationships, I used to always say, I always had in the back of my mind that the person that I'm with, they're going to cheat on me. And that's what I would always say. And then it went from me thinking it to actually saying it to them. Oh, I know you're going to cheat on me. I know you're going to cheat on me. And so I kept saying it and saying it and saying it. And each time it happened. And each time I left. So in this relationship, I don't even think about that. It's not even a thought in this relationship. So just by me keep reiterating and keep saying it and keep believing it, and we're going to show you scientifically why that happened.
Yes. And now let's not get this twisted with the fake it till you make it type thing, because what we're about to explain to you or share with you towards the end of this whole presentation is that you are actually going to get to the point where you're not going to be faking it. You're really going to feel it. You're going to know it. And once you're able to get those new instructions into your subconscious, you can create magic, which means that you can change your whole world around and really manifest the life that you want to live. But now there's one tiny thing that we have to kind of interject here, which is that I'm not sure if I should put it in here right now, but I'm going to say this and we can just come back to it if we need to. When it comes to manifestation, we have to keep in mind the law of availability or the sphere of availability. Yeah. And what do we mean by that?
So the sphere of availability, I'll have to get into the 7 realms of existence to even talk about the sphere of availability. And I think we're jumping ahead with that one.
Yeah, we're jumping ahead a little bit.
But just a little bit. But the sphere of availability, it's really based off of, this one is based off of logic per se. Like when you are manifesting something, you have to make sure that the thing that you're manifesting, for it to work easier, it is in your sphere of availability. Meaning that you don't, when you work in your magic or when you're doing your manifestation, you don't want to go and light a candle on a full moon and say, I'm going to get this job and the job is going to pay me $1 million. When the job, the most that you can get paid is maybe
$25 an hour.
$25 an hour, right? That would be a waste of magic.
Right.
Because you're not operating in the sphere of your availability.
Right.
Now, if you on the new moon, if you set your intentions and you say, I'm going to land this job, the least that you can earn would be, let's say, $50 an hour. The max that you can earn would be like $25 an hour. And if you know that you have the skills and whatnot to actually get this job, then that would be something that would be in your sphere of availability. That means that there is a very strong possibility that you can attain that because it's in your sphere of availability. So when you set the magic and you put the intentions out, you can actually reach that particular potential, right? So, but then once you get that coming in, right, and you want to do something a little bit higher, right? The thing that you're aiming for, let's say you're aiming for a promotion that pays you $60,000, $70,000 a year. That would be in your sphere of availability. So you can go and you can get that one. And let's say you want to make $200,000 a year. If that comes up, that's now in your sphere of availability.
Because now you've built those skills up,
Exactly.
you've built that knowledge,
Right.
and you're not able to handle whatever you're attempting to manifest.
Right.
Okay. So just keep that in mind. That's actually something that we're going to go in probably like in a few more weeks. Not even next week. It's going to be in a few more weeks that we're going to start getting more into some things like that. But just wanted to put that out there because I know when we go through, and hey, I'm saying it because I did it myself. I was like, oh, boy, I know how to go through and reprogram my mind. And I'm finna go manifest a Bentley right now.
Right.
Like knowing that in the area that we live in,
Right.
Because right now we're not in a gated community. So to have a Bentley in an area that's not in a gated community, it's going to be gone pretty soon.
Right. And when you operate out of your sphere of availability, sometimes, yeah, you could get that particular thing that you did do the magic for, but you won't be able to contain it.
There you go.
You don't have the container to hold what you actually receive. So then sometimes we end up when we lose that thing.
All right. So boom, just wanted to put that in there real quickly, just so you all can have that for your own reference. Now, this next part that we're about to go into is when we're talking about manifestation, we send our order out into the universe, right? Now, there actually is a scientific terminology that we can put on this as far as how this works when we send our orders out into the universe and then it comes back. And that's called quantum physics. Now, we really don't have the time to go into quantum physics right now, but we do have a really short video that'll help you to get a really good basic understanding of what's going on and why you're getting what you're getting. All right. So boom, let's go ahead and.
This breaks it down very, very, very well, very accurately. And it gives you an idea of how magic actually works.
Yep. All right, here we go.
So how do you create your own reality? So based off of your thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and actions, you create a field of intention around you. And this is an electromagnetic field that interacts with the quantum field of possibility. And inside this quantum field, everything is possible. All possibilities exist at the same time. So based on the observer effect from our field of intention, we interact with the waves of existence to collapse them down into physical reality. And what you experience in this physical reality is determined by your field of attention and how that field of intention interacts with the law of attraction to determine whether you're going to have positive or negative experience. This is why what you put in determines what you get out of life. The choice is yours.
All right, boom. All right.
That was so perfect.
I'm actually going to back up and highlight this one point here, right? Because this is how we're going to really share with you all how you can really transform your life, okay? Now, are you all able to see what's on the screen here? Okay, awesome. So as you can see here from what he said, based on your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, and your actions, that's going to set your intention. And that intention is the message or the order that you put out into the to the universe, right? But you're actually sending it out into the quantum field, which is then okay. Now this is a little scientific, right? This is just a little bit of science for you. When you start looking into quantum physics, we're talking about beyond atoms, beyond quarks. If you know the basics of the structure of an atom, and once you go past the atom, you get to the protons and neutrons. And once you get past the protons and neutrons, you get quarks. Now, what happens is that in this quantum field, if you put enough attention on a particular situation, right? And it's not something that's existing right now. This is where a lot of our anxiety comes from. And we put a lot of focus on the future and we feel like, oh, it's not going to work out. And then you come surprised when the future comes and they actually don't work out because you already spoke it into existence. That's because you're sending that energy to a certain timeline for you to experience. And so it goes from this floaty quartz and it starts to go back into like protons, go back into atoms, and then it starts to build on itself until it brings into something that's physical. Now, that's a real simple breakdown, and believe me, it's so much more when it comes to quantum physics. But just understand that there is a scientific reason as to why when you send an order out into the universe, you actually experience it on this physical plane.
Right. And I think sometimes it gets, some people like, well, I don't believe, but it's just because they're not able to see. And so oftentimes people, they put so much emphasis on the matter, the actual manifestation of thought, belief, and feelings and actions. You know, that's after all of those have taken place, then it brings itself to matter, the physical manifestation. So everybody just believes, oh, I can't see it, so it doesn't exist, right? But the things that really matter, oxygen, we can't see it, but we know it's there. Energy, we can't see it, but we know it's there. So all of the things that truly matter, all of the things that really make up this world or create this world, those are the ones that we really need to pay attention to. But especially if we want to live life on purpose, like if you're comfortable living life on accident, then all this stuff doesn't matter. But if you're tired of living life on accident and you really want to create your own world, we have to start paying attention to the things that we cannot see, because the things that we cannot see, those are the ones that would allow us to create our reality, because reality, the physical reality, is created out of the unseen realms and it manifests in the physical form. This is one of the densest form is matter. Right. So we have to pay attention to what matter so we can bring things down here. There you go. Right. Literally. So just understand that our intentions, right? It literally vibrates outside of us. Whatever the strongest intention is, that's the one that's going to win. It's kind of like a sperm, right? When you have the sperm and it's swimming to the egg, it's lots of sperm going to that egg, right? To manifest the baby. But only one, the strongest sperm is going to win, and it's going to manifest that actual baby. So our torus field around us, our electromagnetic field around us, it's the same exact thing. So once we become aware of this a magnetic field that's around us, a field of intention that's around us, and we understand how it interacts, you know, with the probabilities and the possibilities, right? That's why sometimes you can do a reading with someone, and when they're doing the reading, they're going off of the strongest probability, depending on where you're at in the reading, how you're vibrating in the reading. So there's the strongest probability that you would experience depending on how you're vibrating. That's what's going to come out in the reading. Now, if you continue on that vibratory resonance that you're on, more than likely that reading is going to come to fruition. But if you change your frequency, right, you get a different probability, because there's endless probabilities in the quantum world.
And just to add on to that, this would be sometimes people get readings and they're like, oh, that wasn't a good reading. That ain't going to happen. Well, I'm saying this on the basis of you went to a really good, legit reader. Okay. When they are, once again, my baby said, when they're reading, they're seeing the strongest possibility. And so you have to keep in mind that your intention is the one that's sending the strongest possibility out there. So if you get a reading and they say something that you don't like or you don't want to experience, well, you have to understand that you're sending that signal into the ethers, into the universal consciousness, right? And so that reader is picking up on that strongest possibility that you're putting out there. And that's the one that's going to manifest onto this plane.
Right. So if you don't like it, you have that opportunity to actually change it.
And you have to be thankful that you do have an opportunity to change it. But that's for another, that's down the line as far as when time comes in. But we're going to jump into the next section on this. Oh, wow, this light.
Did y'all see that? I know y'all seen it this time.
I don't know if y'all see it, it's lightning. But thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate y'all for being here. Yeah, so we got some major storms going on right now. All right, so this next part that we're about to go into, we're going to talk about the language of the subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. And surprise, surprise, it is not English. It is not even words at all. Why does this keep popping up on my screen? Okay. Okay. So let me get this back up here. I'm going to go to this one. Boom. Okay. All right. So boom. How does the subconscious talk to us, right?
Real easy. Okay. So this is us coming into a different type of awareness if we were not aware already. The language of the subconscious mind. So in order to bypass the conscious mind, we must use one, if not all three of these methods to send new instructions to the subconscious mind. Now, the powers that be, they are very familiar with our subconscious minds, right? Mm-hmm. So they use symbols, they use repetition, and they use strong emotions. Mm-hmm. Okay, to send new messages to our subconscious mind. Now, we operate off of these symbols, repetition, and strong emotions on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. Some unconscious, most of it unconsciously, right? Yeah. But what happens now when you are starting to send your own symbols, when you're starting to do your own repetition, mm-hmm. and when you're starting to control your strong emotions, that means that you take full control of your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. And so once you have full control of your subconscious mind, your conscious mind is really just carrying out whatever is going on down there.
Right.
And now your magic works, mm-hmm. because now you're resonating on the timelines that you really want to collapse into this material world. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing it on accident or doing it because somebody else already send a symbol to program something that they want you to act upon or respond upon.
Yep. There you go. And so just real quick, because got some examples over here. Now, as far as when it comes to symbols, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with the Eye of Horus. Y'all know what that is. And then if you're not familiar with Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, which is the polar bear that you see over here, which is the Big Dipper and Little Dipper. Mm-hmm. Definitely recommend you go and watch our How to Exit the Matrix video so you can get a little bit more understanding why that symbol is so significant. Mm-hmm. But whenever you see these symbols, it evokes something in you, mm-hmm. okay? Because it's not talking to your conscious mind. It is talking to your subconscious mind, mm-hmm. okay? And just to expand your horizon here a little bit, even all of these words over here on the left, where you see where it says the language of the subconscious mind all the way down to strong emotions, mm-hmm. these are all symbols. These are all characters. Mm-hmm. And depending on when you see a word, it can evoke an emotion. Mm-hmm. It can evoke or bring up a memory. Mm-hmm. Okay, so symbols are just something that we recognize at just first glance what it is. I mean, emojis. You see an emoji, you know what that means,
right? The eggplant and the
I wouldn't go say that with
green water and the peach. I mean, it's just some signs, but when you see it, you get a whole picture in your head.
Yeah. Yep. Now the second one, which is repetition. You know, this whole cycle just going over and over again. Mm-hmm. And then you have this one over here, this guy just walking around in circles. You know, just like if you were on a walking trail, when you have enough people walk that same trail over and over and over and over again, it's a clear pathway where everybody can see where they need to go. Mm-hmm. And so just like for your subconscious, when you do enough repetition, you hardwire your nervous system and a lot of other things that's going on in your body to automatically do things.
Yeah, because now you've created an impression in there. Mm-hmm. And the impressions are the ones that's kind of difficult to get out.
Yeah.
The ones that's done through repetition.
Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, this is one that we're really going to pay attention to, which is the strong emotions. Okay? And we're talking about, like for this young lady here on the left, like you can clearly see that she is happy. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you look at that picture and you can just think of whatever emotion it is, like she's happy that that sun is just beaming on her face, or she's just happy that she's at the beach or something of that nature, like your whole subconscious can come up with a whole story with that. But then you got this one on the right.
You already know what's going on with that. She doesn't have to say anything.
Like she just mad at her because why the hell she's so happy?
Right. You already know what that is. That's that energy, you know?
All right. So boom. So just understand that your subconscious doesn't use words really to speak to it, to get the instructions. It's all done through symbols, repetition, and strong emotions.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So just keep that in mind as we move forward, because these are going to be the tools that are going to be crucial for you to install new programs that serve your greatest and highest good.
Exactly.
All right. Awesome. All right. Boom. All right. So now on to the good part, to the good.
This is a good right here.
Okay. Because up until this point, we've pretty much given you a basic overview of, once again, what magic is. And magic is understanding the science of the subconscious mind to create a result, a physical result in this world.
Right.
That's magic.
Exactly. And if you're not liking what you're experiencing, right? What that means is that you have to go in and remove what's in the subconscious, and you have to then replace it, you know, with the programs that will bring to you that which you seek or that which you desire. So it's a literal uninstall and reinstallation. Now, if you like how things are working out for you and you don't have a problem, then you don't need to touch anything. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Just build upon it. Right? Now, this is something that we actually went and we did. And we are doing, and we are having very good results. Take, for instance, you know, when I was working, I felt miserable. I'm like, I don't want to work. I just want to be spiritual. And I just want to sing Kumbaya. And I just want to help people. And I just want to do sessions. I want to inspire and all of this stuff. And I hated my job. And so I realized that I was having issues with my root chakra. And I couldn't manifest you know, the full-time Kumbaya stuff, right? And I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? I'm doing everything. But you see, what I didn't realize, what I was doing is that in my subconscious mind, I was actually affecting my root chakra. This is so big. When I realized it like opened the door for me. I was affecting my root chakra because my job was actually providing my stability. It was providing my survival. It was taking care of the root chakra needs, right? So I didn't know that I was linking such type of, I want to call it negative energy, and it was directly linked to my root chakra. Therefore, you know, your root chakra is your survival, your root chakra is your money and stuff like that. So I didn't realize that those type of energies played a really important role in messing up my root chakra. So here I am trying to manifest something, but the energy on my Taurus field, my intentions was actually sabotaging what I actually wanted to attract. So when I realized that and I switched that around, I'm telling you, it's kind of like night and day now, you know, complete night and day. When you really don't realize how small thinking patterns like that can affect you on so many different levels, because it's like it's a domino effect that takes place. So when you have that type of thought form, it sends intentions, the energy of intentions in the quantum field, and it interacts with that resonance of energy, and it brings you back the same thing that you're experiencing, no matter how much magic you work, no matter how much candles you burn, no matter how many chicken foots you sacrifice.
It don't matter if you paid $1,000 for somebody to do a ritual for you.
Right.
If you got anything that's contradicting, and actually, I'm excited. I like it's so much stuff I just want to jump right into. But let me say this: because one of the things, because there's a book that we're about to kind of go over with you all, just giving you some cliff notes as far as the book is concerned.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's not in this slide that I wanted to just interject real quick is that you have to have your heart and your brain in sync. Because just like a laser, the laser is a bunch of waves that's all going at once. And we got lights flickering, so we may need to do this quick so that the power doesn't go out.
It's a powerful information.
Okay. But when you think about a laser, there is multiple waves all going at once. That's why it makes it so strong. And so those waves that are coming out of the laser are what's called coherent. Okay. But when you have waves that are going opposite to each other, so imagine you got this rhythm wave, right? You got that wave, but then you have a second wave that's like this, right? It's not matching up. Like if you had a line, you would be able to see that those lines don't match up.
Right.
And when they don't match up, they cancel each other out. And that's called being incoherent.
Right.
And so when you cancel out those signals, that means that you're canceling out the order that you're sending into the multiverse, the signals that you're sending out into the quantum field. And that's why a lot of times it's hit or miss whenever we're trying to manifest.
And sometimes it happens and sometimes it don't. It's kind of like having a car and maybe kicking the brakes or something to see what happens. And it moves. You're like, oh yeah, something happened. Yeah. But with this process, you're actually doing it on purpose and getting results each time. Right. And if you see yourself not getting the result, then you can go back to the drawing board because you understand that there is something in the subconscious that's actually canceling out what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And then you could get that in alignment and get constant results that you're looking for.
Yeah, because just a kind of quick FYI here is that this whole process is a refinement. Okay? Most people are not going to get this perfect on the first try, okay? Because even when you go through and you remove some programs, something else is going to come to the surface. But when that something else comes to the surface, don't worry, because even in this book that we're about to share with you all, it does have ways to help you maintain that status that you're looking to accomplish. So let's get into it. Let's not hold it back any much longer, right? So once again, this is going to be one of the books that is in the link that we talked about earlier, because at the end of this webinar, we're going to supply you all with the Dropbox links so that you can go in and get access to this book as well as many others. Okay. And just to give you a quick recap, because the first part of this book, the parts that actually, let me back up a little bit. The parts that you see here is actually part 3 that we're going to talk about and actually give you a little bit more insight on. But the first part and the second part really talk about scientifically how all of this works. So when you go through and you get the book, don't skip through to the third. So hopefully we give you enough information so that you at least satisfy that part of your conscious mind. But please, please, please read from part 1 all the way to part 3. And a lot of this is going to make way, way, way more sense. Okay. So boom. So what are we going to be talking about as far as this one, baby?
All right. So how to release the old and embrace the new, like we talked about. Okay. The meditative process, open the door to your creative state, pruning away the habit of being yourself, right? Because I know sometimes we just tired of this self, man. Give me a new self. Dismantle the memory of the old you. Create a new mind for your new future. Living your new reality, right? Personality is your personal reality, right? And so that's what we're going to create. Something different, something new, something that we can really enjoy. And the thing about this is once you have the tools, that's all you need is the tools. So if there is something that shows up again in the future, right? We have the tools and we know when to recognize when something is out of alignment and we jump right on it. That's the beauty about having tools. When your toilet is clogged up, you don't run around like your chicken with head cut off. What am I going to do? No, you have a plunger when your toilet is clogged. So you're like, okay, it's clogged. I got my plunger. Boom, toilet is running again. Right. So this is what you're getting tools.
Right. All right. So now this first one, now this is going to, from the information that we share from you all on this right now, this is going to take your meditation game up a whole nother notch.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? A whole nother notch, believe me.
Yeah.
Okay? Here we go. All right. So boom. So now the first part of the part 3 of this book is talking about the meditative process. So when you're going through the meditative process, this is one of the things that you're going to have to keep in mind, is that you're going to have to prepare your environment, which means that you need to have a sacred space where you can go and meditate.
We do.
Okay? You want to make sure that that environment is one that's going to have the least amount of distractions. Okay? Because this type of meditation is not just your normal wake up in the morning, 15 minutes, sit there, meditate. No, this process is about an hour to about 2 hours. Okay? So you need to make sure that you have that space available where you can get the most out of it. And so you want to definitely prepare your body, make sure that you're comfortable. In this particular situation, this is not a meditation that you would do laying down. You would do this sitting up. Okay? And then you want to make sure that you make time. This is all caps. Make time to meditate.
Yes, because guys, this is you. This is us. We have to make time for ourselves. We make time for everybody else. We make time for Tom, Dick, and Harry. Right?
We make time for our jobs.
We make time for 8 hours. They don't want us doing this. We're gonna get it done.
We're gonna get it done.
Y'all see out here. We doing it.
Yeah.
Listen. They don't want this information. Come on, baby. Speed through it. Let's get it out.
Go ahead.
Let's get it out.
And then the next part with the meditative process is preparing your state of mind.
Yes.
Okay. But now this next part that we're going to go into is actually going to speak a little bit more as far as preparing the state of mind, right? Okay. And in preparing the state of mind, we want to open the door to the creative state.
Yes.
Okay. This part here, actually, I'm going to go through and read it, and then I'm going to come back and I'm explaining a little bit more, okay? One of the techniques that oh, you got a question? I'm sorry, that's head unmuted. Okay. One of the techniques that hypnosis experts use to get individuals into a so-called trance is called induction. Okay. Simply put, we teach people how to change their brain waves. Okay. Because when you move from beta to alpha, you access the subconscious mind.
Right. And this subconscious mind, it's open from the time you're, I want to say from 5 to 12 years old, your subconscious mind is open up. This is why kids are so creative. This is why they have imaginary friends, because they have access to the subconscious mind. It's in and out game. But once you get to 12 years old, your subconscious mind creates a bridge. So you can't go in and out like when you were a kid, right? So that's when things start changing for us. So this is going to help us to get back in there so that we can take out the things that we don't really want in there and put in some new stuff, right?
Right. So now the part of this, which is the induction, and actually this part I was just going to really explain to y'all, because there's 2 methods into doing this induction to help you to go from beta to alpha. Now, you can go down all the way to gamma, like that's nirvana. That's like our Buddhists that's just sitting on the Himalayan mountains. They ain't gamma. They left. Like they all the way there.
They already left the building.
But we don't have to get to gamma.
I ain't got to go there.
We just got to get to alpha. We got to get to the beginning.
You ain't got to go that far back.
Okay. So there are 2 techniques in order to move from beta to alpha, right? And they're actually one and the same, but it's just 2 different ways of going about it. And it's essentially scanning your body. Okay. So like the first technique, you pretty much start from the top of your head, just really feeling everything. And as you go through each one of those parts, just imagine it getting heavy, just feeling that space and just really letting everything relax. And you do that when you are all the way down from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet. Okay. And then once you get down to the bottom of your feet, then you start imagining the space that you're in, like feeling the chair that you're in, like trying to imagine the space that's in between you and the chair, the space that's in between you and your feet. Okay. Just imagine that space, because what happens is that you're giving your subconscious mind, you're giving your conscious mind something to do. Because we all know that when you get into meditation, you have that monkey mind that comes up. You get all these thoughts and things that are coming through.
I got to do this. I got to cook dinner. It's
right. So just like a child, you have to give the conscious mind something to do. And it's very key to pay attention to the wordings that's going to be said in the book, because those words, just like we talked about before, when you're talking about symbols, repetitions, and strong feelings, those symbols, those words causes a switch, right? So you're giving your conscious mind something to work on, but then it's really outside the scope of what the conscious mind really does. And so it starts to put the conscious mind to sleep, and then you're able to get into the subconscious. But you don't stop there just at the space that you feel around the seat. You imagine the whole room. It's a really good thing for you to, before you even start the meditation, just go around and visually look at every corner of the room, look at the floor, look at the details, everything that's in that room, so that when you get to that point where you've recognized the space that's in between you and the chair, then you start filling in the whole room. By the time you filled up the whole room, you've induced yourself. Okay. This is the part to where one of the things we talk about so much is that a lot of times you don't need to go to a Reiki healer. You don't need to go to a card reader. You don't need to go through and have somebody read into your Akashic records, because once you know how to put your faith into that hypnotic state, you can do a lot of these things.
A whole lot. Okay. You can go visit relatives. You can do a whole lot.
Yes. Now, the second one, real quickly, is just imagining the room that you're in is filling with water. And you start from the bottom of your feet, and you just imagine that whole water just filling up the whole room. And as you see it, it's just warm water that you can breathe in underneath, right? So you ain't got to worry about whether or not you're going to drown, okay? Just get that out your mind.
Tell you, sometimes it gets so real. It's so real sometimes.
All right. And so you just imagine the room filling up with water, and just imagine that warm water hitting every spot. Just really sit and go through this whole process, and just imagine getting all the way to the top of your head until it gets to the ceiling of your room. Okay. This is the process that they say in the book that they recommend you do for about 20 to 30 minutes, just doing that process alone. And when you do that process, and when you get to the end of it, if you've done it right, you're in the subconscious. You're in alpha. Okay. So that's one of the parts as far as the whole process of really going through and reprogramming the subconscious, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now the next part, what is the next one, sweetheart?
Oh, yeah. So this one, prune away the habit of being yourself, right? So recognizing, right, and identifying the problem, admitting, right, identifying the problem, declaring, identifying the problem, surrendering, identifying the problem. So this will actually, we will need to be completely honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to be. We won't be able to change unless we have self-accountability and honesty with self. Because if we can't be honest with ourselves, we can't be honest with anybody.
Yeah. And actually, I got to be a little bit honest. Those are actually some typos. So it's supposed to be just recognize the problem, admitting the problem, declaring the problem, and surrendering the problem.
It work out the same way. It's the same thing. You got to identify them bad boys.
Yeah.
So your higher self probably, hey.
Yeah. Okay. But these are, this is actually something that you would do prior to your meditation. Okay. Because in this point, this is where you're going to be doing a lot of writing and a lot of soul searching, right? So there's so many different things that are in our subconscious that we can't really tackle it all at once.
You shouldn't.
Okay.
I don't recommend it.
Don't do it all at once. But here's the thing, because in this process, right, it's going to give you some suggestions as far as some emotions to release. Okay. Whether it's like fear, anxiety, lack, loss, any of those kind of what we consider negative emotions. Right. It walks you through this process. Sorry, y'all. Okay.
Things going a little haywire.
It walks you through the process of recognizing these emotions, right? And I think we're going to try to go through that real quickly just so you all can have an understanding of it. But before we do that, just understanding that in some cases, you don't need to pick all of them.
Right.
Because let's just say, for example, you pick anger, right? But you feel like you have some judgment issues as well. Okay. So if you pick anger, let's just say you got a situation where you angry at somebody because they took your dress or they bought some shoes. They bought the last pair of shoes before you could get to it. And so when you see that anger is kind of linked to judgment as well. And they'll explain this a little bit more in the book, but you can see how a lot of these negative emotions are actually linked to other ones. And when you clear that one, you clear like a handful of other ones.
Right.
Okay. So boom. You remember the whole steps in that part off the top of your head?
With the books, with the
not the steps. Okay. I'll just explain it real quickly because I didn't put it in here. I should have, but I didn't. Which is that when you're talking about the recognizing, admitting, declaring, and surrendering, okay? This whole part is like 2 chapters all in one that we just gave you a brief breakdown on. But the recognizing is first, recognizing the emotion that is most pressing for you that you feel is making the most negative impact in your life. And let's just call that anxiety, right? Once you recognize, okay, anxiety, when I feel anxiety, where in my body do I feel it? That's number 2. Okay. You want to recognize where do you feel it in your body? Then thirdly, when you feel that feeling in your body, what are you thinking about at the time when you experience that emotion? Okay. And then thirdly, oh wow, I'm drawing a blank, but it's in the book. Okay. It's in the book, but you're going to go through this process of really identifying these emotions. And here's the beautiful thing about it. When you go through and you're doing this work, there's no judgment.
Right. It's just you. It's just you. And I guess you're talking about the declaring with the emotions and the surrendering. So with the declaring, you just, when you declare something, it's like you speak it into existence. Right. So with that energy, whatever you feel, you kind of just speak it into existence. You declare, how you want to feel. And then with the surrendering, you just kind of let it go. You surrender, you let it be, you accept it, full acceptance. But like my baby said, it's all in the book. Once you go through the book, we'll actually let you know where you can find it. And it takes you through it step by step by step. So it's no confusion.
No confusion at all. All right. So boom. All right. So you got this next one, sweetheart.
Right.
All right.
So no typos, right?
Yeah, no typos.
So dismantle the memory of the old you, right? You observe the old self and remind yourself who you no longer want to be. And this is crucial. This is really, really crucial. I would recommend getting like a book, a journal when you're doing this. The next one, you will become completely conscious, by observing, of course, of the specific unconscious or habitual thoughts and actions that make up the state of mind and body that you named earlier. Okay. Whenever you have a negative thought or habit that comes up, it will be your responsibility to redirect the energy to who you want to be. Now, this is the key component here. So this type of action would take you becoming self-accountable, right? You have to become accountable of self, and you have to become the watcher of yourself and watch of your actions, because we're going to slip up. It's not a perfect thing, but when you do, you have to be the one to remind yourself.
Yes.
Unless you can employ somebody who's around you to tell them what you're doing and be like, yo, when you see me doing this, call me out, if that's easier for you. But more than likely, you're going to have to become the watcher of yourself so that you can self-correct. And after a while, it gets easy.
Yeah. It's like a muscle. It's like being in the gym.
Yeah.
You start lifting 10 weights and it becomes like a feather to you. You go to 20 and you go to 30 to the point that you up there benching like 300 pounds and it's like lightweight to you. It's like light work.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now this is the fun part. Okay. The fun part here is now you're going to get to a point where you are creating a new mind for your new future. Okay. This is where your imagination comes into play. And if we haven't said it before, I'm definitely going to say it right now. Your imagination is something you definitely need to cultivate. You need to exercise your emotion as much as possible. We need to get back into the mind of being a kid and start daydreaming again. We got to really start building that back up, because with this exercise, you're going to start thinking about how you want to think, how you want to act, and how you want to feel. Because just imagine this picture here, like, let's just say that this guy on the left is homeless, right? But he is imagining himself, I guess, being an entrepreneur, being a businessman. He all suited up and booted up. He's got it dressed down to the nines. Okay. So that's who he is imagining his new self to be. And so now you can imagine who you want to be, what type of life you want to live. And so once you do that, because let me just back up for a moment here, just in case you all didn't catch what's really going on, is that the first things first is that we are getting our bodies under control and we are bypassing the subconscious mind. Excuse me. We are bypassing the conscious mind so that we can get into the subconscious mind. Okay. And when we're in the subconscious mind, when we call out those emotions that we no longer want to feel, that's really sending the instructions to the subconscious. And also when you're surrendering, because you're going to surrender your thoughts, whatever these emotions are that you're feeling, you're going to surrender those to your higher self. And your higher self, you can think of it as your subconscious, but you can put whatever name you want to put on it. It's totally up to you. If you want to say God, if you want to say Jah, if you want to say Buddha, whoever you want to say, you are releasing that negative energy over to something greater than yourself.
Right.
Okay. Which is essentially you, but we're going to get to that further weeks down the line. But you are releasing that energy to you for your higher self to now come through and give you a better way of living your life on purpose, one that's more abundant in every way that you can imagine.
Right. Because this is the whole point of this, is really understanding how magic works with the subconscious and really beginning to create our life on purpose. You know, if you don't really like the current job that you're in, you got to go in there and you got to see, why am I even here? Like, what is the reason why I'm at this job in the first place? How did I get here in the first place? You know, you kind of like, you got to re-engineer, right? Go back in there and see, when did I tell myself that I needed to be here, and why am I here? And do I still need to be here? And if so, where else do I need to be? And really start reverse engineering, coming out of that mindset, coming out of that mentality of telling yourself these core belief programs that we have, or I am ugly, or I am poor, or I can't do this, or this is all I have. So going back to the beginning, when we talked about our intentions, they literally send out these frequencies to interact with the quantum world to bring forth those things that we believe. It's an actual thing that happens. It's a physical interaction that we're doing with the quantum world.
Right.
So the subconscious is where these strong intentions are coming from, that's creating our reality and making it matter from the quantum world. Right. So this is something that we really, really have to understand.
Yes.
If we want to change our current reality. If you want to change what you're seeing, you have to change it in the quantum world. So we have to learn now how to interact with the quantum world to get a different physical experience.
Yes. Boom. I couldn't say it any better.
I've been doing it and it's been working. Listen, it's been working.
I mean, like real talk. Because when I did this whole exercise from beginning to end, and I tell you, when I first called out that first emotion that I wanted to release, when I actually said it out loud in that meditation, and at that point I was in my subconscious, I felt this surge of energy just go through my entire vessel.
Because it's energy.
Okay, like it was like totally released. And now I'm just working on the next one, because one of the things that we're going to be doing as far as in the next weeks to come is really showing you how you can, with the power of your subconscious and with the tools that are used for creating your magic, you can really change your life overnight. Okay. Even with this basic stuff that we're giving you right now, and yes, I'm saying basic.
This is the basic. You gotta have the prep work. It's like baking a cake. You gotta have all the ingredients out before you throw the stuff in the oven. So this is what this is. These are the ingredients before we throw the stuff in the oven.
Right. Because even with this basic information, you can start changing your life right now, this very second. And as far as like materializing things into your world, they will come for sure. But with the information that we're going to be going over in these next couple of weeks, we're going to show you how you can refine those skills, refine those tools, and be very precise so that you can actually make things work a lot quicker. Because one of the other things about this world is that once you, and actually just thinking about this, right? With this whole exercises, some of these emotions are tied to things that are in the past. Okay. So if you can release yourself from things in the past, that means that you can time travel. And so it doesn't matter if it's something that happened a year ago or if it's something that hasn't even happened yet. You can actually bring it into this reality, to this very now, right here and now, a lot quicker. Okay. So boom. So that's what we're really getting into. So once you all get this book, like start going through it, read through it, go through the whole process. It's going to be amazing, because believe me, we feel it. But the last part on this whole thing is that the book is going to give you a little bit more tools to help you live in your new reality. Okay. So now you've gone through and you've done all that reprogramming. You've released all of those old emotions, and you're now walking in your new reality. It's going to be, this is when you demonstrate change. You're memorized. Wow. I don't know why my vision getting blurry right now.
You've memorized, I got you. You've memorized an internal order that is greater than any environmental cue. All right.
Which means is that you've taken your locus of control. You have now taken your locus of control that was outside of you, which means that you were looking for somebody else to validate you, tell you that you're beautiful, or you were looking for somebody else to validate you by giving you a raise to give you more money. Now you've taken your locus of control and you put it within you, so that whatever joy that you have, whatever love that you have, it can never leave you.
Right. And you know the thing that you'll start noticing is that when you've just given up on external validation, it just throws itself at you. Facts. It's like the moment you stop looking for people to tell you that you're beautiful, the moment you stop looking for people to validate how smart you are. The moment you start, you truly stop looking for all those external validations, watch, you be, oh, you're so smart. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, what did you do today? You look so different. And you're
just glowing.
I just woke up. What you talking about? Something about you. Like, I don't get it. Because and it's like you're not even looking for it anymore, but it'll just start coming to you because now you're actually resonating on that frequency. Mm-hmm. And so that's the frequency that you're communicating to the quantum world, right? To all of the possibilities. And that's what you're collapsing into the material world.
Mm-hmm. And just to give you another way for you to really understand what's going on here, if you've ever started to shop for a car and you started going out, I think I like this car. Yeah, I want it in red. Yeah, I'm going to get it in red. So once I get this deposit in, then I'm going to go and get that car. Lo and behold, as soon as you walk out your door, all you see is red cars.
That's all you see. It happens to me every time I go car shopping. Okay. I'm like, how many people got my car?
I'm like, hold on, this is my car. I said I was going to get that Nissan Maxima red with the 18-inch rims.
Everybody got it.
And now you see it everywhere. Like, man, hold on, everybody got it. I don't want it now. But the reason why you're seeing that is that because the intention that you sent out to the infinite intelligence. There's so many different words.
So many words. We're going to call it quantum world.
When you put that order out into the quantum world, it's like, okay, that was strong. Mm-hmm. Here's a red car right here, a red car here. Like, that's how it works. Yeah. And so up until this point, you may have been doing this on accident. Mm-hmm. You may have gotten a little bit of information about it. Hell, you may actually know more than us.
Right.
But this information here can definitely help you to organize it in such a way that you can utilize these tools to really transform your life.
Exactly. I mean, I'm seeing some results, a lot of results, and I'm like, whoa, baby, this stuff really works.
Yep. And just last but not least, just to give you all a quick sneak peek at what we're going to be looking at next week, which is the power of imagination.
Yeah, now this is key.
Because this is going to be another crucial tool, because once you've got all of this stuff cleared out, now you're on new territory. Mm-hmm. You got a new clean slate that you can build on. Right. And so the power of your imagination is going to be key so that you can really create the world that you want to experience.
That's right. And so I must say this, with the imagination, we have to understand that the inner child is the one that's in charge of the imagination. Mm-hmm. Facts, that's the inner child. So sometimes we find it difficult I know some people are like, well, I have a hard time creating a vision board, or I have a hard time imagining things, or I have a hard time, creating stuff, internally. So the reason why people usually have a hard time with their imagination is directly linked to the inner child, not being in a state of balance, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So if you feel like your inner child might not be completely balanced, I think we can send a video as far as a meditation to help to bring the inner child into balance, so that imagination can take off like Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you're going to have a balanced inner child to get the best out of your imagination, because that's like they're like the key holder for the imagination. Our inner child is literally the key. They hold the key to that bad boy.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. All right. So as of right now, we just dropped the link in the chat so that you can get access to the Dropbox, which is going to have the book from Joe Dispenza in there, along with a lot of other ones. And if you saw earlier on the slide, there was one quote that we pulled out as far as the definition of magic that came from the book, The Magician by Philip Cooper. And that book, if you were to try to get that physical book would cost you over $4,000.
That's a pretty expensive book.
Okay. So that is a very awesome book to really help you to understand magic. But before you get into that, because we're going to get into it, believe me, we're going to get into it. We want to get the subconscious under control first.
We have to before we can move forward. This is one of the most crucial parts to magic, believe it or not.
Yes. All right. So with that being said, that's pretty much the end. We're going to open this up for Q&A in just a second. But we just want to tell y'all we love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. See you next week. Peace out.